I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast.
And I treat everybody the same by treating everybody differently. Never teach a class. You teach the individuals in the class.
We could have the best business skills in the world, but if that mat doesn't work and we're not connecting correctly and delivering and the students getting progress, none of this matters. All right, guys, welcome back to the Team Chip Podcast. I am so excited to have a brother, a friend, a mentor with me today. I have the one and only Master Chris Rappold of Personal Best Martial Arts in the Boston area. And I'm probably not, it should be the Boston. Maybe I'm not saying that right. But anyway, I'm just super honored to have this guy here. Today, we're going to be talking about retention. One of the most important parts of our martial arts business is, you know, we fight hard to get them. How do we keep them? And Master Chris is one of the best in the industry that I have ever met at retention. And we're going to try to dig out and steal some secrets from him. Master Chris, how are you today?
Sir, whenever I am around you, I am just inspired. How can somebody not feel your energy, you know? So it's my privilege, and thank you for asking me, and happy to share, and you use the word mentor. And I think what makes our relationship special is we both act as that for the other, right?
Yes, sir. 100%.
And, yeah, and that's a special relationship. So thank you.
It is. I've been in some tight times, and who do I call? I call Master Chris. Hey,
Not
what do I do
Ghostbusters.
here?
You're not calling Ghostbusters. You call.
I call Master Chris Rappold. That's what I'm talking about. No, our relationship has been very special and been ongoing for quite a long time, and I absolutely love it. We lean on each other at times, and I will say in the early days when we first met, we were laughing about this a while ago. I'll never forget flying up to see you and kind of see how your schools are operating and what you're doing, because I know we need to make some changes and improvements. And you walked me through rotating curriculum, and you laid out Excel printout sheets of rotating curriculum and spent time in a restaurant trying to wrap Chip's slow Texas brain around the idea of rotating curriculum. And I'll be eternally thankful for that and appreciate that, man. It's good times.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, the nice thing about what you and I do is, and the privilege you and I have had is we've had some of the same mentors, and
Yes, sir.
we count, you and I both, I know we count our blessings every day. So
Yes, sir.
really all I'm doing is transferring the same level of courtesy that somebody gave to me when they sat me probably down at a restaurant and said, okay, now this is rotating curriculum. Right. And so I'm just, you know, passing it along, you know.
Absolutely.
I think you and I are very good. You're an innovator. So I want to,
about that.
well, I wasn't asking your opinion. I'm telling you, you're an innovator, but I do think there's something that both you and I are very good at, and that is recognizing a good idea.
Yes, sir.
And both of our organizations have benefited greatly from our ability to recognize congruent ideas that will help elevate the experience of what we give to our team and our families and our students.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you said that. Recognizing good ideas, taking action on those ideas. But what I was kind of thinking about too is we're also, and I've had this a learned skill, for lack of better words, good at kind of putting our guard down and reaching out to someone and going, hey, I'm in this place. What do you think? Have you been here? And it's kind of back to that. Who do you surround yourself with? You know, it's cliche, but you know, man, we have to pick wisely and choose well who we allow ourselves to be influenced by and surrounded by. And so I think that's another thing that you and I are decent at, for sure. I know you're really good at it, is going, you know, hey, I've got this new situation going on. What do you think about that? And sharing some ideas back and forth, and sharing the wisdom. You know, sometimes I've tripped and made that stumble, and sometimes you have, and we can bump off of each other or our other mentors, which is powerful. So if you're listening and you're a school owner or young instructor entrepreneur, surround yourself well. We beat it to death, but make sure you get the right people in your life that you can lean on. Today, Master Chris, I wanted to talk a little bit, you know, your retention. You can correct me, obviously, anytime, but Yeah, the last time we talked, and we're in a mastermind group together where we share some numbers, and like you're running like 1.6, 1.7% retention rate. For those of you that aren't familiar, that's like 1.7 people out of 100 per month drop, right? That's monstrous. The kind of in my understanding is about 4% industry wide is a good number to stay at or below. So that would be 4 out of 100. So you've mastered retention and building cultures in your school. And when I say cultures, I should say one culture, because you have one school with multiple locations, personal best.
Mm.
But you've mastered building a culture that lends itself to retaining people.
Mhm.
So if you would kind of speak to the staff mindset a little bit, like what are you doing with your staff? How do you propagate that culture of retaining?
Mhm. So there's not one thing that I do that really does it, but I had a conversation yesterday with someone, and there's layers of things
Right.
that I do that I've learned from very very smart people like you. So as far as the staff goes, I think number one is I aspire, and I fail at this too. Anything that I say I fail at, but
Right.
um, I aspire to treat them the way that I would want to be treated if I was uh, at their age and in their stage of life that they're at. And
Right.
what does that mean? I treat everybody the same by treating everybody differently.
Yes, sir.
I have right now I have a very, very eager 21-year-old. I have a very eager 23-year-old. I have a 36-year-old. I have a
Right.
31-year-old who's about to be married. I have a 63-year-old staff member. Everybody, um, everybody goes. Life is not easy.
Yes, sir.
Life is not easy. And there are things that happen that are just bigger than us. The
Right.
loss of a family member, you know, the, all of the things that unfortunately we all have to deal with. And to the best of my ability, I really pride myself on being there for them. So, number one, I think if I could say, and the better question to ask Master Chip would be, asking my staff, because you know, maybe they might say something different, but I would hope they would say he's my boss, but he's a mentor, and he's one of my best friends, because I know if I called him at 4 o'clock in the morning and I needed something, he'd be there for me.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I would say it starts with that. Second, and I think you've certainly been a big influencer in this area. So we have the three letters that SAS, stay a student.
Yes.
And so to be on my team, you have to train. And
Yes, sir.
and it's not casually, it's not passively, it's passionately. You have to maintain yourself as a student. This is my 34th year. Next week is our 34th anniversary. And
Congratulations, by the way. That's
oh,
amazing.
thank you very.
Yes.
But I can set my watch after doing it for, as long as I have. If somebody stops training, or they start to lose their passion for being a student in the martial arts, I can look at my watch and say their days are numbered.
Yes,
At
sir.
least at least with the culture that we provide, because I think as an instructor, we're always giving out. And if you're always giving out, eventually the well runs dry, and that's what people equate to burnout. But if I'm always filling that well in by training, and by challenging myself, and by being around a team, and sweating, and going through the not it's an old saying, we don't really do this, but the blood, sweat, and tears
Right.
of the natural training process.
Right.
The way we spar is very different from the way we used to spar, and
Yes, sir.
we didn't know about concussions.
Yes,
Back
absolutely.
then. So when I say the word blood, it's an old school expression, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I have one of my team members who I'm super proud of. He came to me and he said, part of the requirement of his next degree, he wants to take a boxing match.
Nice.
So yeah, and that wasn't something that I put on him. But I could tell you, to a staff member, we would all say, "I've never seen him train so hard." I mean,
Right.
he's dropped about 30 pounds. He looks great.
Nice.
I had one of my friends who's a pro boxing coach come in and work with him, and just the energy and the enthusiasm that he
Hmm.
will now, through osmosis, bring to his students because he's excited about his own training. That's super important. So what we do, and then maybe if I could add a third thing,
Absolutely.
what we do here is very special. And Master Chip, you and your team, probably there's a piece of you that gets tired of, "Oh, Master Chip, this is the best place in the world. Oh, Master Chip, I love you. Oh, Master Chip." Yeah, we can never tire of, or take take it as casual, the impact we have on people's life in a very positive way, because you hear it so much, it's almost like, yeah, 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 yeah. And not that you or I think that, but
Right.
that could be the trap.
Right.
Never, never forget the amazing power martial arts taught the correct way. And there's 100 different ways to teach it the correct way. So I don't want to claim like I have
Absolutely.
the secret sauce, but
For sure.
the secret sauce of our culture, over 34 years, I've watched it change the course and direction of some people's lives. And you have to stay excited about that.
Right.
Sometimes we look at people like a Tony Robbins,
Right.
and maybe there's a piece of us and we say, "Oh, I wish I could have the impact that Tony has on the world." Well, Tony is speaking to a stadium, and boy, have I benefited from his work as well. We have the opportunity to have intimate relationship
Right.
with our students. He could never do that because he has a completely different platform. But
Platform.
I
Right.
would not say the work that we do is any less important, and I could certainly
Absolutely.
argue that in some ways it's more important to the growth and the development of the students and families within our school. So, number one, it's the way, I hope, it's the way that I treat my team, because I
Right.
do love them. Number two, it's SAS, it's stay a student. And then number three, I would say, is never dull your senses of the power of what teaching martial arts correctly can do for somebody's life.
Absolutely. I love that. Uh, it's interesting because we're talking about retention, and the first thing you went to was your own self development, but more importantly, you went to your team. Like those
Yes.
guys are constantly being poured into, being challenged, given goals or helped to set goals to move themselves forward. And it just made me think of, as always, Hanshi Kovar. And, we're martial artists first, teacher second, business people third. And we
Yes.
talk about that a lot. And I think that's key. And in the term in the realm of retention, you're going to retain students better when your team is energized, they're excited about what they do, they're comfortable doing what they do, they feel like they're being served, et cetera. And it's just such a powerful connection for people to make. So I love what you're sharing. And that last piece there, number three, when you were talking about not getting kind of callous or uh, flat to people saying, "Hey, thank you for what you've done," or "This has changed my life." That is so true. Whenever I'm talking to my team, we do stripes on belts, right? So a kid learns a certain piece of material, then they perform that material, and they earn a stripe on their belt. And I've told my team 1,000 times, their first stripe, if for them it's their first and their only. Like, you have to be so excited about that stripe for them, although it might be the 5,000th stripe you've put on a kid's belt, right? And so I love that connection you made. you retain people by being able to express that excitement and see the light in their eyes come on and see that excitement and be passionate about it. I think it kind of goes back to passion in a way.
Yes, sir. Let me say something, and it's a contrast. And by no mean do I mean to disrespect any tradition,
Sure.
but when our students are here in the school, the most important people in the world are our students.
Yes.
We are a student centric school.
Yes.
My my team members, they've talked about, Master Rappold, when you walk in, I'd love to bring the students to attention and have them bow to you.
Hmm.
And either, for whatever the reason, I've shied away from that.
Right.
And I think, Master Chip, it's really because why are you taking the attention away from that young man who's
From
just
them.
earned his first
Yes.
stripe? And why are you bowing to me?
Right.
I understand why they're doing it, and it's out of respect and it's out of courtesy, but there are schools that are instructor centric,
Right.
and there are
Yes.
schools that are student centric. And I think, again, neither one wrong, but for the culture of our school, stopping the whole class and bowing to me would be a departure of the student centric culture that we want to build here.
Right.
Yep.
Agreed. I love that, and I've never and we've never in our organization done that. Where the lead instructor walks in and everyone has to pause and bow because
Right.
for kind of the same reason. Let's stay focused on these guys. We only have them for 45 minutes or an hour. Let's
Yeah.
make the most of that time and just
Yes, sir.
constantly be pouring into them in that time. So
Yes, sir.
such a powerful thought. So what are some tools? Do you have like tools that you use for developing retention? We mentioned things like stripes, check-ins, just different things. So what are some of the things that you build into your culture in your school to feed into retention and keeping the students for the long haul? I'll give you kind of from my side. Last month at one of our locations, we had, I believe, 15 drops. Which was good for us. It was a strong month. We have quite a few students there, so the ratio was okay. But when I looked at the drops, 14 of the 15 were white belts. And I was like, oh, we may have a problem here, right? I didn't get upset about it, but I've been talking to my team for a while about this, the ratio of white belts that drop. So what are things that you do, or maybe some systems you have in place to get those white belts acclimated, to get them onboarded, to get them into the habits and rituals of coming, et cetera? So I won't say too much, but what do you think about that?
So I am going to say something, and I want to contrast our schools. So where we enroll, 5 to 10 students a month. You told me the month of August you enrolled 40. There's infinite complexity uh, in enrolling 40 versus enrolling 10, as far as the amount of touch points it is. So I want to start by saying that, um, I think well, number one, as far as retention, to me, take the word retention out and call it relationship. Relationship number one, relationship is number one. I just want to say something important here, Master Chip. Relationship is number one. Okay. Progress is number two. If the relationship with the parents and the student is strong, that student will walk through fire for you. That
Yes.
student will push themselves because your acknowledgement of their effort means the world. If they know that you're correcting them because you see more in them than maybe they do in themselves, because the relationship is so strong, that'll be good. If the relationship is strong with the parent and there's some sort of hiccup that happens outside of the martial arts school,
Right.
there's a strong enough relationship for them to get you on the phone and for you to care enough to work with and through them. Okay.
Yes.
If the relationship is not strong, that's when you get the call because they've already pre-decided what they want to do, and they, I want to quit the program. We're having this trouble, that trouble, the other trouble, because sometimes the trouble they have is personal in nature, and if you're a stranger to them or just a distant acquaintance, you know, why would they come to you and say, can you help me with this? I don't know what to,
Right. Absolutely.
why are they going to do that? So number one is that. Number two is progress. The
Right.
student has to sincerely feel they're getting better. One of the reasons that um, I will always have a slight bias to functional martial arts, and what I mean by that is if there's timing and distance and movement, if there's time and distance and movement, then it's real.
Yes, sir.
If it's you nod and I step forward and punch, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a basic way of teaching a student.
Right.
But if it stops there, how does the student feel like they're getting better because they're doing the same fixed pattern? Now, this is
Right.
not a knock on performance martial arts
Absolutely.
at all. My
Sure.
affiliation with Paul Mitchell, and
Right.
my team members would jump up and do a 1080 on me if I made any derogatory comment. So I have ultimate respect for them.
Right.
The way they measure themselves is different. It's in a competitive environment. It's that's a different language, but you don't need as many attaboys. If my classmate is throwing a punch at me like this, and all of a sudden, wow, I'm actually able to shift away.
Right.
I can feel I'm making progress. Where
Progress. Right.
before I had to go so slow, and he had to kind of signal that the punch was coming in. Now all of a sudden I feel like, wow, mom, did you see me? Like
Hmm.
I can. Or I'm learning a teep kick, and the person goes to back leg round kick me, and I can push them off balance with my teep kick.
Right.
When a student feels the progress through a better sense of timing and distance and movement, they know they're getting better. They don't need the high five and the attaboy and the card that tells them you've been awesome in class lately. All of that stuff we do.
Right. That's like
We
icing on the cake, though, right?
It's icing on the cake.
Nice.
Sometimes when people talk retention, they go to the list of those things, and those things don't matter if relationship and progress are not there first. Relationship and progress is what all of the niceties are built upon,
Yes.
right? I mean, you go into a restaurant and, I'm talking marble floors, mahogany, everything is great. The waitress couldn't be any nicer. And your steak comes out and it's horrible.
Right.
Okay, who cares about the chandelier? I can't eat my meal. I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
so it's a little bit like that.
Absolutely.
Relationship, progress, any efforts that you can make to strengthen that relationship, to get to know the students. One of the acronyms that, if your listeners don't know, it's just a nice acronym to be able to remember, is what Zig Ziglar always talked about was POGO, POGO.
Hmm.
And it gives a format for team members to filter how well that they know a student. So for example, little Johnny's on the floor, and I walk over to one of my team members, and I say, I haven't seen Johnny. Can you give me the pogo on him? Well, his name is Johnny Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are over there.
Hmm.
And that's his little sister, Kathy, and she's 3 years old. So
Right.
person, the names. I got to know who they are. So Pogo, the person,
Hmm.
uh, the organizations that they belong to. Yeah, Mrs. Jones actually works at the local elementary school. She works in the cafeteria, and Mr. Jones works at IBM.
Hmm.
They also go to Immaculate Conception Church in Easton,
Right.
and this is Johnny's um, first activity, but they're thinking of having him try baseball in the spring.
Right.
Goals. Johnny's is a very, very timid personality, and sometimes that timid personality can be misrepresented as kind of weakness. So I would love for Johnny to be able to kind of find a space where he can stay an introvert. We're not going to change who Johnny is, but we're going to
Right.
teach him to walk up a little taller, and we're
Right.
going to find opportunities within the class for him to use his voice. Whether, okay, Johnny, I want to have you count to 10. Everybody count after. We're going to be,
Right.
professional judgment. I know why Johnny is here, and I know what is most important for his parents. What are they counting on us to
Right.
develop? What are the goals? The goals, and I know you know this, brother. I'm preaching to the choir. The goal is not to get the tip. The tip is the icing on the cake. It's
Right.
the acknowledgement. Now, when that young boy, is standing up a little taller and prouder, and he's led a couple of the counts in class, and then he gets the tip, man,
Hmm.
oh, you know,
Nice.
we're home free.
Yes, sir.
If he's out there and he's like like this, and you're slapping a tip on him, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
So, person, organization, goals, and
Hmm.
then the last O is obstacles. Um, there's a chance that when baseball season happens, I know what happens when baseball season happens. They might do this. So I know that before the parents know that. Mrs. Jones, I think that's great. Boy, if we could get him to feel confident enough that he wants to go out for the baseball team, that's awesome. And I promise you, during baseball season, we'll have some flexibility with our schedule so he can continue on in his martial arts training. She doesn't even know she's
Right.
going to have that need yet, but I've
Right.
already solved it for her and I've already had the conversation.
Nice.
Now, Master Chip, that's us at our best.
Right. 100%.
There human error? Is there
Hmm.
maybe one of our team members knows two of those four things? Maybe we transfer that boy on the floor, and the instructor in class, we hadn't yet had the chance to communicate what those goals are. So he can teach a great class, but what's the secret to retention? Never. One of my mentors always said this: never teach a class. You teach the individuals in the class. Never teach a class. Teaching a class is, okay, ready, one, come on, everybody, let's go. Okay, 10 jumping jacks, drop down. Where's the, and it's not to say we can't have high energy parts of our class, but there's got to be something where that student feels the connection. It's a relationship, and it's progress.
I love that. And when you said that, never just teach a class, but teach the individuals in the class, it takes me kind of back to what you said about your team. I treat them all the same by treating them differently. I wanted to come back to that when we didn't, so I'm going to do it now. There's a lot of wisdom there in knowing that everybody on your team is at a different place in their personal journey.
Yes.
And when you approach them appropriately to their journey, you have that 15-year-old young assistant instructor that's on fire for this, and you have the 21-year-old who's a little more on fire for this, and et cetera. That's very cool. And we talk to our team about knowing the kids and kind of knowing what their needs were when they came to us, which kind of connects to the goals. Like, what are they looking to get out of this? What is the goal, right? So I have a question for you. We have a concept, and we talk to our team about this a lot. about, you've leaned heavy into relationships is the point. And I feel we have to be careful not to be too personal in relationships, but to keep it personable and professional. So speak to that just a little bit, because in the past, from my own experience, I've gotten too close to kids or families and found that performance begins to wane. Sometimes people kind of look for a little extra special attention, or, to be able to cut a corner here or there because you've kind of become their friend. So can you kind of speak to how do you help your team to maintain personable or professional as opposed to getting too personal?
Hmm. So I'll say two things on that. One, an area that I think we have to address and we have to improve. We are a hugging culture.
Right.
Um, when I see you,
Hmm.
or I see,
Right.
Glen Ann or Lexi, or, I'm going to come up and shake your hand and come in and give you a hug.
Right.
And when my team is training downstairs right now, when I see them, we're all going to hug each other, and
Right.
it's not, it's just kind of what we do,
Right.
shake hands and we go in for the hug. I think given 2025,
Hmm.
and given some sensitivity, I do see where we might have to pull some of that back a little bit.
Right.
Um, has anything bad ever happened from it? No, but there have been, I think, three comments from parents just within the past year where
Hmm.
it kind of made them feel a little bit funny.
Right.
So there's cultural nuance that has to be respected
Right.
in some of the religious traditions. You
Hmm.
don't
Right.
you don't hug a woman.
Right.
So anyway, so we want to be respectful of that. So that would be something that we don't do. But the other thing is, so let me go back to my team. For me to do them a disservice, they need to see me as their best friend number one, and then they need to see me as their boss number two and their mentor number three. No, 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 no. John Kamara, who has been with me now for 30 years. He's been here since he was 4.5. So 32 years, actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, he refers to me as his best friend. But that being said, we still have that instructor-student relationship, and I have to honor that. That's originally how the relationship started. That's what he needs me to be for him. He's going to know a lot of Chris's in the world, right? But there's only one me, and that's a special and kind of sacred relationship, and I owe that to my team members and to my students to be that. So I will be friendly, um, personable. I'll know the pogo, but but there are some boundaries that I won't go past because I feel like it could jeopardize that relationship, and I always want them to understand that. Mr. Chung, who is my Taekwondo teacher, Mr. Chung, I've slept at his house. He's slept at my house. We've gone on vacations together. I've never said, "Hey, John, what's up?"
Right. Right.
Number one, he's my teacher. It could
Yes.
never even come out of my mouth because
Right.
I always want to. I don't. I have a ton of Johns in my life.
Yes.
That actually kind of sounds funny. Um, I
It on multiple levels, a ton of Johns.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I have one Mr. Chung, and I want that. I have one Hanshi, you know, Mr. Kovar, uh, and I want that. So it's not this is not an ego thing at all. I don't a certain yeah. So maybe perhaps a little long winded, but I think I think keeping that line is important, and it's for their best interest. Um, I still have to be a father to my daughter's number one because they only have one dad. Do I want to be their best friend? Sure, I do. Do I want them to be able to cry on my shoulder? Of course, I do. Do I want that in the event? I don't know. They were drunk somewhere. Do I want them to feel like they could call me? And
Right. Absolutely.
not that they do that, but yeah, but father number one.
100%.
Yes, sir.
Keeping that order of priorities. And
Just that
yes,
order. Just that
absolutely.
order.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Well, do you have any last tips for a school owner, young instructor around the idea? Because the kind of the focus was retention. And I loved what you said, because instead of just talking retention and like tools for retention, none of those tools matter. And I talk to my guys about this all the time. We could have the best business skills in the world, but if that mat doesn't work and we're not connecting correctly and delivering and the students getting progress, none of this matters, right?
My
But
friend, you have, and I apologize to interrupt you, but
no
just
worries.
again, we use it all. Do we have auto responders? Of course we do.
Right. Hmm.
When somebody enrolls in the program, they're going to receive this email, and it
Right.
slowly educates them over time. I don't have anything against that. We use
Right.
all of those.
Right.
But I'd rather have somebody come to me and say, "Hey, yeah, Master Rappold, nice to see you again. I just got that email from you. I loved that."
Right.
As opposed to, I have no relationship. They don't know who
Right.
I am. That autoresponder isn't going to stop them from dropping out.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
But the relationship will commonly stop them.
Yes,
Right. I
sir.
love that. I love that.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, Master Chris, this has been huge.
May I,
Tons and tons of golden nuggets. Yes.
because I interrupted you, you were going to ask me, is there any one thing? So I would just like to
Yes.
jump to one scenario.
Yes.
We all have um, tough days or a bad month where, oh my, you're looking at your stats. You're a business owner, you're looking at your stats and you're like,
Mm,
what happened? Or you had an excessive amount of dropouts, like what you said.
right.
Sometimes we don't know what to do. And it's like, oh, that's when I get out the attendance cards and I go one by one and I take the negative energy I feel from feeling like I failed on that one statistic, and I try to immediately take that energy and put it into building relationships with the people that I have. And
Right.
then, like you said, sir, honestly taking a look at the people that dropped out and saying, could we have done anything more for them? And if possible, trying to make that right, and or making sure we don't repeat that same error. It's like in jujitsu,
Right.
Master Chip. If maybe you're an exception to the rule, but if you and I are rolling and you catch me in an armbar, or I'm rolling with one of my teachers and they do that, my goal is not to repeat the same error again. Now,
Right.
if you catch me in something else, that's okay.
Right.
But you caught me in something, and it was probably a mistake I made,
Right.
right? That's usually when
Absolutely.
we get caught in things. So let's not make that mistake again. Let's not get into the habit, oh, people these days, kids just aren't as committed as they once were.
Yes.
Parent, when we get into these labels, anytime you point the finger away from yourself, you will never improve.
Self. I love it. Reflect. Look at the problem and ask the question, what could we have done different? What could we have done better? What did we miss? Own it, right? I
You and I at our best, that is
Mhm.
what we do. And I say
Yes,
at
sir.
our best because we're not perfect at it either.
Right.
But man, we wake up every day with the commitment to being better than we were the day before. And,
Yes.
I don't want people to say I used to train with Chris when he was good.
Absolutely.
Right? What's with that?
Absolutely. I,
So,
I love that.
yes, sir.
Well, man, what a great lesson. You said something in the beginning too that's kind of sticking out of my head. Treat people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule. The golden rule is so powerful. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right.
And then uh, don't lose it. Like when I looked at those drops just last month at one of our schools, I go, wow, 15. Okay. It's not great. It's not horrible. Our numbers aren't bad based on stats, but gosh, 14 white belts. And there was zero anger. There was zero jumping to conclusions, but there was hey guys, I'm looking at this. What are you guys feeling here? What are we missing? What do we do better? Could we change something? Could we improve our steps to relationships? What is it that we need to do to tighten this up? So I think that's powerful. Self-reflect. Where do we, take ownership of things? Kind of thinking this idea of extreme ownership. Just own it and go, okay, we missed something here. What do we do different?
Yes, sir. And also, you didn't lose 15 widgets. You lost 15 souls.
People, yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I point the finger at myself too. If somebody leaves personal best and they go off to something better for them, I don't have a problem. If somebody moves away, blah, 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 blah. If I've gone to the ends of the earth for the person and we've just come to an agreement that, it's probably time we got to at least give it a little pause. I have no problem. When I'm like, who's Johnny?
Right. Yes, sir.
I failed that soul that was hoping that we would have been the solution.
Yes, yeah. I love it. Man, what a great way to come to a close here, I think. I failed that soul that came here hoping there was a solution. Yeah, and we missed it. What a great thought. Well, Master Chris, I am so honored and thankful for you jumping on and chit-chatting with me and sharing some nuggets. I don't know. I was sitting here taking notes. I took tons of notes myself because you said a lot of good stuff. I love the idea of pogo. I loved the, kind of that, your friend, mentor, and then, they must be martial artists. And, I just love the order you put things in. I think it's really, really powerful. I think we can all gain a lot from that. So,
well, it's a lot of mentoring over the years that I've received, and
right.
It's just passing it on like, you do so well.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for that. Well, man, Master Chris, thanks for being on. I hope you guys out there listening enjoyed this, like it, subscribe to it, send us a message, and let us know what we can share that might move the needle for you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review because we need you. We appreciate you so much. And without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success. So go out there and never be outworked.